thought I had everything good to go. Of course I didn't. I realized that I'm like, all right, Chris, we're going to go live. I'm like, oh, I haven't even brought his video feed into the chat yet. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to OTC Live. Streaming in multiple locations today. We're streaming on our normal Twitch page, which is twitch.tv/outside the cinema. Also streaming to YouTube at the OTC Industries page. Maybe. Let me look. I mean, yeah.
Look.
Okay. Yep. Nope. Yep. There it says OTC Live post-election horror show. That's good. So I can close that window.
Yeah. Look at that.
Look at that. And we're also live on our Facebook group page, which we used to do often, but I figured now would be a good time. I don't know whether that's the only one I don't see that looks like it's live.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't really matter right now though. But we're live the other two places. Looks like that's weird. I don't know why that's not doing that. A few seconds ago it says. Oh no, we are.
Oh hey, that's needed. Auto generates captions on
really?
Facebook.
Oh cool. So if I say words like fuck.
Well, let's see, because it's taken a little while to catch up.
Well, farts.
So let's just sit here quietly.
Well, farts. Hey, anyway, welcome to the show. Show for November 4th, 2020. I titled it. Well, no, we titled it because I feel like, Chris, you would back me up on this. The post-election horror show.
Yeah.
For those of you not in the United States, I think everyone in the world probably knows that the presidential election was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, when you say fuck, it's 3 question marks.
Oh, who's a bad boy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know who a bad boy is, but anyway, so the presidential election was yesterday. We don't know who the winner is yet. It's starting slowly becoming clearer, but we still don't know, which is exactly what we expected.
Yeah.
So there's nearly no surprise there. We're not going to dwell on a whole lot of election stuff today because I feel like we've had we've kind of talked about it a bit on the show, and I feel like we could all use a little bit of a break. I wish, we obviously knew the answer, whether, one way or another. Like I said to my son this morning, I said, hey, listen, we don't know what's going to happen, but if it doesn't go the way we want it to, we've survived the last 4 years. Hopefully we'll survive the next 4.
Yep. Hopefully.
But how are you mental-wise? How are you doing?
A little better today than last night, to be honest.
Oh, bro, last night was awful.
Yeah, but then I did a bunch of reading, and it was like, okay, so a bunch of them are going to come in blue, which would be Democratic, and then all of the walk-in votes, the in-person votes, would then start to take place, and they'd start to get counted, and it would look like it's going one way. When really all of the other votes still haven't been counted or tabulated. So I forget what time I said, all right, I've had enough of this because I don't need to have a heart attack, an aneurysm, or anything like that. And what time? It was 13 hours ago.
I'll tell you what time for me. It was 1:30.
Yeah, just about the same for me. I had too much.
I don't know who your news network of choice is. It's probably OAN. But
yeah, yeah, all the time.
Oh, here's a funny story. For those of you that don't live in the United States, OAN, the One America Network, is like the most right-leaning network ever. If you think Fox News is right-leaning, brother, have I got a story for you.
It's like the weekly world news for QAnon supporters.
Seriously. But so we flipped to that channel. I was like, you know what? I'm like, I need to see just like maybe like 30, 40 seconds of what their coverage was. And immediately,
braver than I am.
Yeah. And immediately within like 20 seconds, they were talking about how President Trump was such an amazing man because he made sure, despite the craziness of the election that's going on, he made sure to send out a tweet in response to support the people of Vienna after the terrorist attack. I was like, okay. They're like, a real hero takes the time during these things.
Tweet.
And he probably didn't write.
Yeah, but he also said that he won the election and they should stop counting votes.
We don't need to count any more votes because I won the election.
You know what? I'm going to run the Boston Marathon next fall. It's been delayed from when is it usually? May,
March.
March. I knew it was an M month, but I wasn't
It's usually
sure.
either the very end of March or beginning of April.
I would like to announce that I will have won that race. We don't even have to run it. I won. I had the fastest time.
Well, it's funny because I was trying to explain it to Travis, and I was like, so this is what President Trump decided to do last night. I'm like,
Yeah.
I personally think it's wrong. His followers love it. Hey, whatever.
Everybody thinks it's wrong. Every
Even- yeah.
normal person
yeah.
that understands how an election works knows it's wrong.
But so I explained it to him, and he didn't get it. So I was like, okay, 9-year-old son of mine.
Yeah.
Imagine we're watching the New England Patriots play,
Mm.
and they are playing, let's say, the New York Jets.
Okay.
And it's the third quarter. The Jets score a touchdown and take the lead 14-10.
Mm-hmm.
The third quarter ends, and the coach of the Jets says, hey, we're up 14-10. The game's over.
Yeah.
We don't have to finish the game
Right.
because we know that the Patriots are a better team and are going to come back and beat us probably at the end of it.
If we let them have the ball,
Yes.
there's a good chance they're going to score more points.
Yeah, so Travis looks at me and goes, Dad, it makes complete sense now.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, sure
Yeah.
does. Anyway, though, yeah, so I tapped out at about 1:30. I usually watch CNN because I it's bad enough on me as it is. I need to listen to stuff that at least is somewhat in my wheelhouse. But the issue was, it was just like, probably you ran into the same thing, I'm sure. It was the same thing over and over and over again. Nothing was changing. It's 1:30 in the morning. Nothing is going to change between 1:30 and 5:30 when I wake up, or whatever time I wake up to tomorrow.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. And I had finished the entire bottle of whatever it was I was drinking. Didn't do anything.
I had Gatorade.
I had because of Bob's Burgers, I had a bottle of Prosecco, which I thought was funny. Alan had one glass, I had two. That was the whole bottle. What a waste. It tasted nice. It wasn't overly alcoholic or acidic tasting, so that was good. Had some bubbles. And then I came in here, took one print off the bed, started the next one, looked at a few things, then read a couple articles that made me feel better, and then I went to bed with a headache. Not from the wine, but from the day.
Yeah. Well,
So, yeah.
We knew that this is where we were going to be. Shout out to the Curse Dave and Donnie are in the chat room hanging out with us today. What's going on, guys?
Nice.
Then it's, I'm just exhausted. I'm just exhausted. And
Yeah.
I want us to get past it. Obviously I would like it to turn out one way. I'm an independent by choice, but I obviously have leaned hard Democratic left for quite a while now. And I'm of a full mindset of, if you're of a different belief, that's fine. Like, everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I mean, I personally think this is not there's not a question here.
Well, there's certain things that are acceptable political differences, like should tax money go to this or that?
Right.
Should we send troops to assist this country? Should we sign a trade deal with this country? Can my daughter get married and adopt children is not a fucking political question.
So true. Oh my God.
So, there's the we can share a difference exists to a certain point for me, and then it's just, you're an asshole.
Right. But again, I'm at the end of the day, I'm an American, and I can think you're an asshole, and I cannot want to talk to you, and I cannot want, but
Right.
you have the right to think whatever you want. I don't have to fucking like it, though. That's, I think, my biggest issue. Like that situation, where the voter intimidation thing didn't come together the way that a lot of people thought it would. But like the idea that you're going to go to the polls and you're going to intimidate someone into not voting the way they want to vote because you're there to get in their face about it. Like, that's the stuff that I don't understand. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't understand.
If you think about that logically, they can't stand over your shoulder and force you to vote for whoever. Once you're in that booth or table or sectioned off area where you're voting, Nobody knows what you're doing. Voter intimidation really shouldn't work, right?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. But that doesn't. Or maybe it did it. Maybe that's why we didn't hear much about it.
Maybe. Or maybe everybody was way too vigilant about, guys that look like me wearing red hats, carrying guns, walking around. I'm just talking tall, fat, white guys. That's what I mean by people that look like me.
What do you mean? No, just kidding.
I'm the kind of person that when I was an usher in a movie theater and we had Die Hard 3, standing in the back with the rest of the ushers, a couple people walked out and said, "Oh, he looks like he could have been in that movie." Like Donka. That's how I used to look.
Oh, yo, you know what I need to do? I need to send out a blanket apology to our listeners.
Okay.
Which I don't usually do. I don't usually backtrack on things.
This might be the first time.
It may be, but I got an email yesterday from one of our former patrons, basically kind of laying out why they chose to no longer be a patron of the show.
Oh.
And I won't bring his name up or anything like that. But I read it and I took it to heart in terms of like, he was just like, listen, man, like, I appreciate what you guys do. I like the show. I showed up to part of the throwdown, and it's just like, you just don't, you meaning me. It's just, I've just had enough. Like, I can't just listen to the show. And here's the thing is, this person is someone that I'm familiar with because they're actually more in tune with commenting on things and mentioning things and stuff than most of our other listeners are. And I didn't think for a moment that I didn't take the time to think that I may upset someone that has been there for us. I was just like, well, I'm not talking about you. But then it's like, it's easy for me to say that I'm not talking about you, but then on the show be like, fuck all y'all. Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. I got that.
So
yeah,
I want to apologize to those of you. Here's the thing. If you think I was talking about you, I probably wasn't. you know what I mean? Like, if like the type of thing where it's like, I didn't, and I apologize for not kind of maybe being like a little more reserved in my overall blanket. But here's the thing. Times are stressful right now, like very stressful. And like, we don't have a whole lot of work going around. And like, I mean, we've had a few gigs come through for some stuff, but like, the Patreon generates an income for us. And it's not much. It basically pays our internet bill, but
right.
Like, it's the type of thing where it's like every little bit helps. So when I see a drop and I don't understand why, I'm curious about it. And he made a good point of being like, he's like, I truly do feel bad if you feel underappreciated as a podcaster. And I do, but that's not the listener's problem.
No, that's the nature of it though, isn't it? Every time I see, 50 best movie podcasts, like, right.
I don't care.
Great.
I don't care.
It's like, but it's like out of 50, it's like 48 with movie stars hosting them.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. And it's like, it's, I think the frustrating part of it is when you work your fucking ass off, like we do. And we make sure we have usually 2 brand new full episodes every week of stuff, and we do all these other things. We try to push and we're like, hey, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And then we just kind of see other like movie stars or celebrities, and not even like necessarily big celebrities, just like guys slide in who just fucking walk into a studio and sit down and just record the show, and then somebody else deals with all the other stuff, and then there's hundreds of thousands of listeners and thousands of dollars in sponsorships. It's like it's frustrating. We've talked about that a lot over the years.
It's I would say not so much frustrating as disheartening, because like let's look at Mike White for a second and the amount of work he puts into a single episode.
My God, yes. A year and a half in advance that dude's planning shows.
Yeah, I'm on 2 shows.
Mike that does the projection booth and who was an executive producer on Survival of the Film Freaks.
Yeah, I'm on 2 shows next year. like a year from now.
Yeah.
So that's how far ahead it's planned. And how that doesn't get more recognition with the people he interviews and the hours and hours of a single episode he records about one movie. And but then you see stuff like, how did this get made? It's like, well, you work in Hollywood doing this show, you know how it got made.
Yeah.
So
You're
why
already
is that a
making
question?
millions of dollars on your acting career. Like,
Yeah, so it's to be expected, but it's also like, how do you compete with that? And that's the part that really like leads to the feelings that we get, I guess. And yeah, I agree with you. We're taking it out on the wrong people. 100%.
oh, for sure. And the thing wasn't, and it's just like, I don't mean to come off alienating like that. And I know that I do. And I've done that in the past. I had that fucking meltdown in that show, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, 400 episodes ago or whatever it was. I had this like
Yeah.
epic, and I think probably most of the listeners now probably don't remember that, but I had
That's
this
fine.
epic fucking meltdown on the show. And looking back on it, I never, there was really no need for it. Like there was,
Yeah.
it was stupid to do. So,
Yeah.
basically, an apology to the listeners if you're a regular listener. I didn't think about what I was saying.
No, you reacted emotionally, and
I've always that's always what I do. That's how I.
but
That's how I react.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, get it out, and then we get back to it. But you taking the time to understand and listen to just one person that wrote in, that says a lot, I would think.
Right.
That you care more about the listeners than a lot of other shows, honestly.
Well, and the thing too is whenever someone cancels their Patreon, I'm always just curious why. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like if you cancel your Patreon, I usually will reach out to you and just be like, "Hey, is everything okay?" First of all, like, cuz I've had people
Right.
they're like, "Listen, I lost my job. I just
Right.
don't have the extra money right now." Hey,
Yep.
more power to you. What can I do to help? Type thing. Like, can we do some
Yeah.
other, can I cover some movies? So that's what this was, where it was like it canceled, and I sent out a couple emails, and I got a couple of responses, and the other one was like, "Holy shit, I canceled the wrong one. I meant to cancel this other one, and I canceled yours by accident. I'm actually really glad you emailed me. I'm gonna fix it right now."
That's funny.
So go figure. But so moving forward, what I took away from that, the biggest thing I took away from that was mostly just like, shut the fuck up and just do the show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will do what I can to make the Patreon stuff better. I will do my best not to complain about it. The big thing that we're going to be launching with Patreon is going to be private watch nights that will be done over Zoom or Skype or one of those things, where basically you'll get an invite, and you'll only get the invite if you're on the Patreon. And we'll plan it out, usually a little bit in advance. Get the link and all that stuff, and we'll do a watch party. And that way I can keep it offline so we can not run into what we ran into with Twitch for the throwdown, which I didn't even realize somebody else pointed out to me, was that the watch parties are only available on your computer, like on your PC or on your Mac or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not available on any of the apps. I'm like, even if you have like the Apple TV app, you can't watch the movie. And they're like, no, it has to be on your PC. I had a couple people that were like, oh, I streamed it from my PC to my Apple TV or whatever.
Okay.
But so we can get around that, where we can just do it through Zoom, and I don't have to worry about trying to send it to different places. You can put it, essentially wherever you want to.
Okay.
So if you're in the Patreon, keep an eye out for those messages and those emails. I'm gonna try to plan one maybe end of next week. We'll do maybe here's the other thing, and I've done this before. What night is best for everybody? That's such a loaded question.
Yeah.
For me, I can really do any night. Like, there's not really a night that's like bad for me. So it's really kind of like, would you guys rather have like a weekend night, or would you rather have like a weeknight, or like, I don't know. If you hear this and you're curious, let me know. But yeah, we'll do that. So
Sounds good.
Donnie says that an app-friendly OTC can't go wrong. And Dave, who's he's been pretty outspoken, and I appreciate his support too, because he's on the Patreon, and he's always jumping in. So it's Broken Scooter, who's in the chat with us today too. The same thing. He says that that sounds like a lot of fun, and I think that's something that I think everyone can get into. We could even run polls and stuff to like choose the movies or whatever. We could do whatever. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. With that said, we've talked about politics. We've talked about my bad attitude. Last week, we obviously, it was Halloween last Saturday. Everyone's been cramming movies. I know Chris has watched a number of things. I've watched a number of things. The first thing I want to talk about is the Shudder exclusive Scare Me, which I know you watched a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about this movie and give it kind of like a proper review.
Okay.
If we could. So Scare Me. I'm gonna fire the trailer up for everybody and get it on the screen for everyone here, so they can take a quick look at it. So Scare Me is a Shudder original currently, and it just when did it was probably like October maybe.
Yeah. It was like second week of October.
Yeah. So how long ago did you watch it?
Pretty soon after, because Aya Cash, the main girl in there, is on The Boys, and I like her on that show. Well, I don't like her character, but I like her in that role, and I'm like, all right, I'll watch something else with her in it. So that's why I watched it.
All right. Well, I watched it.
It was pretty soon.
I watched it mostly because you said to watch it.
Okay.
So I feel like you were kind of like, it's an anthology film, but like not an anthology film, and not really what you expect. And then Chris Red shows up, so I know you were psyched about that too.
Yeah, he's funny. I like him. Yeah.
So
wasn't he in that Deep Murder movie?
He was.
Yeah, he was good in that.
He played the jock that wasn't gay.
Yeah.
All right, so Scare Me. Let me just get the. Oh, that's not. Sorry about that. So Scare Me, American comedy horror, written, directed, produced by Josh Rubin, stars Aya Cash. Rubin's the main guy, isn't he?
I'm not 100% sure.
Josh Rubin is Fred Banks. Yep. So he's the main guy. But so the plot is pretty simple. You got Fred, he's a struggling actor and a writer. He rents this mountain cabin. He wants to get up there, write in isolation. We're kind of led to believe he's got some stuff going on in his personal life. So he goes out there and he catches a ride with Bettina, played by Rebecca Drysdale. She's like his like an Uber driver, like, or hired driver of some sort. And he's in the back seat, and she keeps telling, "Oh yeah, no, I know you probably," and like we've seen this a million times, and it works really well. And that's what "Oh, I know you're really tired. I probably want to get some rest. So just if you want to take a nap, that's fine. Just let me know." Anyway, so you're a writer. I got these ideas.
She was really funny because she played that role of super excited. I found somebody with the same interests as me, kind of super fan kind of thing, without being a fan necessarily. It's almost like she never has anybody to talk to.
Right.
And that was good. She was good in that role. Because so many little things about her too. She's presumptive, like she just takes food or comes in the house, and like really super friendly. And she plays such a small part. What?
Our Twitch stream is down for some reason.
Oh, is it because I showed my boobs?
I don't know. Did you
Nobody wants to see that.
Let's see here. I don't know what's going on. Keep talking while I try to fix this.
Okay, so he gets settled in, and he, sets up all his stuff. I think he does a little bit of drinking, starts a fire, and then the next day he goes out for either a walk or a run. I can't remember because it was so early in the movie, and he comes across Aya Cash, who is also a writer, and he tries to hit it off with her, and she is just having none of his shit. She's colder than the weather. to him, and it's funny as hell because he's sorta trying to hit on her. It's like he just wants to have a conversation with another human being, and she's just like, nah, fuck off, just get out of here. And you think that's the last you're gonna see of her until there's a storm that night, and she shows up at his place. Um, all of a sudden, very friendly, very, very, very assumptive of, you will let me in and everything will be fine. And it's kind of weird how they kind of mash the two of them together into the story. It's almost like they just crash two plots together, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But from there it works because she instantly takes control of everything, and she's telling him what to do.